Welcome back, everyone, to Learn English by Talking by Linguisphere Online Academy. I'm Alex, and we're not in a studio today. If you hear the soft clatter of plates, the distant hiss of a coffee machine, the murmur of other people's conversations, that's on purpose. That's real life. That's the actual soundtrack of English happening in the wild. No soundproof booth, just us talking at a corner table.
Exactly. No scripts, no perfect textbook sentences repeated for a recording. This is just a conversation between two friends who've made a lot of mistakes and lived to tell the tales. Today's topic is one we all have material for: work and the funny, cringeworthy, deeply human stories that come from it.
It gives you endless material, sometimes too much. You'll be having a perfectly normal Tuesday, and your brain will just casually serve up a memory from 7 years ago where you said something utterly ridiculous in a meeting, and you'll just have to sit with that shame all over again while you're trying to eat your sandwich.
That is the universal experience. Okay, I'll start. I'm choosing this story first because it still, to this day, makes me physically uncomfortable to remember. The cringe is stored in my bones.
That's how I know it's a good one. The best stories come with a visceral reaction. Let's hear it.
So, this was my first proper post-university job. A real office, I had a desk, a computer that took 5 minutes to start up, and a sense of overwhelming dread mixed with excitement. First week, everything was new. The smell of the carpet, the code for the bathroom, the unspoken rules about the kitchen. I was a sponge trying to absorb how to be a professional person. My main strategy was to mimic confidence, stand like the confident people stand, nod like they nod.
The performance of competence before you actually feel it. A classic opening act.
Precisely. So on, I think, the third day, my manager, a very nice but perpetually busy woman named Linda, swings by my cubicle. She's holding a notebook and has that look, the I have a thing look. She says, "Sam, we've got a client on the line in 5 minutes. It's just a check-in for the Johnson account. Can you handle it? Just get an update on their timeline."
A seemingly simple task. The trap is set.
The trap was set, and I walked right into it. Instead of asking a single clarifying question like, "What's the Johnson account?" or "What if they ask about the deliverables?" my performative confidence took over. I puffed up my chest, gave what I hoped was a reassuring smile, and said, "Yes, sure, no problem." I remember the words felt fake coming out of my mouth, like I was an actor delivering a line.
Classic thirst mistake, saying yes too fast to seem capable. We've all done it. The fear of looking inexperienced overpowers the logic of actually being inexperienced.
It's a rite of passage. So the call connects. The client, Mr. Johnson, sounds friendly. We do the small talk dance. "How's the weather there? Can't complain." It's all going smoothly. I'm thinking, okay, I can do this. This is just talking. Then he says, "So, about the platform migration we discussed last quarter, we've been getting some error codes on the user dashboard. Has that been resolved on your end?"
The technical question. The moment where the facade cracks.
My brain did not just crack. It completely short-circuited. It was like someone pulled the power cord. I had no idea what the Johnson account even was, let alone a platform migration or user dashboards. A wave of pure, cold panic washed over me. In that void of knowledge, my mouth decided to operate on its own. Without consulting my brain, it formed a sentence.
Don't leave me hanging. What was the sentence?
With a tone of absolute, fabricated certainty, I said, "Yes, we fixed that yesterday. It should be running smoothly now."
Oh no, Sam, no.
Yes, I told a paying client that a problem I had just learned existed was definitively fixed yesterday, a day I had spent mostly figuring out how to connect to the office Wi-Fi.
The audacity is almost impressive. What did the client say?
He sounded delighted, relieved. "Oh, fantastic. That's great news. Your team is always so on top of things. Thank you for the update." He was happy, genuinely, warmly happy.
That's the worst part. When they're happy and grateful, the lie feels heavier.
It sits in your stomach like a rock. I hung up the phone and just stared at my blank computer screen, the reality of what I'd done dawning on me. I had approximately 5 minutes of peace before I heard footsteps. It was Linda. She wasn't smiling. She leaned on the cubicle wall and said in a very calm, very quiet voice, "Sam, I just got off the phone with Mr. Johnson. He thanked me for fixing the dashboard so quickly." She paused. "Why did you tell him it was fixed?"
The moment of truth. What did you say? Did you try to craft an elaborate excuse?
There was no brainpower left for excuses. The panic had burned all my creative fuel. All that was left was the raw, embarrassing truth. I looked up at her and just said, "Because I panicked."
Just pure, unadulterated honesty.
No justification. No, I thought he meant something else. Just the core failure. Panic. I braced for anger, for disappointment.
And what happened?
She stared at me for a second. Then her stern expression broke and she started to laugh. Not a mean laugh, but a laugh of recognition. "Oh, Sam," she said, wiping her eye. "Welcome to the club. We've all done a version of that." She then explained what the actual issue was and helped me draft a follow-up email to Mr. Johnson, clarifying that while the root cause was identified, the full fix was being implemented that week. The whole nearby office had heard her laugh, and the story spread by lunch. I was the fresh-faced newbie who declared problems solved by magic.
And you wanted to disappear into the floor tiles.
Absolutely. I think I turned the same shade as the beige cubicle wall. But at the same time, a weird thing happened. People started talking to me more. They'd come by and share their own "I panicked and said something stupid" stories. It was like my public failure was an initiation ritual. And the lesson was tattooed on my brain. It is always, always better to say, "I don't know, but I'll find out," than to invent a confident lie.
Painful in the moment, but permanent learning. That's the trade-off. All right, my turn. Mine is less about technical ignorance and more about social tone deafness, the kind of awkwardness that makes you replay the moment while trying to fall asleep.
Those are my favorite, the social fumbles. They're more relatable than technical stuff.
So this was at a different company, a smaller design studio. The culture was very work hard, play hard, very social. Everyone ate lunch together in the big break room. It wasn't a rule, but there was a strong, unspoken pressure. If you ate at your desk, people would ask if you were okay.
Forced fun, the worst kind.
The absolute worst. I'm more of an introvert. I need that midday quiet to recharge, or I'm useless all afternoon. So one day, I'm deeply focused on a layout, headphones on, in the zone. A coworker, a very extroverted, lovely guy named Mark, pops his head over my monitor. "Hey, Alex, a bunch of us are heading to that new burrito place. You in?"
The enthusiastic invitation, a test of social skill.
In my head, the polite script was clear. "Thanks so much for asking. I'm really in the middle of something right now. Maybe next time." Simple, gracious, sets a boundary.
And what actually came out of your mouth?
What came out, delivered with the social grace of a dropped hammer, was, "No, I don't like eating with people."
Alex, no.
Just a flat, declarative statement. I don't like eating with people, as if I were stating a fundamental law of physics. Gravity exists, the sky is blue, and Alex does not enjoy communal mastication.
I can feel the silence. What was the reaction?
Mark's smile didn't fade so much as it solidified. It froze on his face. His eyes widened just a fraction. It was a perfect snapshot of confused offense. The other two coworkers waiting behind him just looked at the floor.
And you, in the horror of the moment, did you try to recover?
I did the exact opposite of recover. I committed. Seeing his confusion, my brain decided the problem was that I hadn't explained myself enough, so I started elaborating. "Yeah, I just find it draining. I need to be alone to process the morning. It's not personal, it's just my personality. I'm better one-on-one, really. In groups, I just go quiet. So it's better for everyone if I just..."
I was digging the hole deeper with the backhoe.
I was constructing a subterranean bunker of social alienation. I finally trailed off. Mark just nodded slowly, said, "Okay, cool, no worries," and they left. For the next month, any lunch invitation from that group came with a caveat. "We're going for lunch, Alex. No pressure, of course. We know you like to do your own thing. Totally get it."
They treated your preference like a diagnosed condition.
Exactly. Be careful around Alex. He's antisocial at noon. The lesson was brutal. It's not just what you say, but how you package it. A little softness, a little "thanks so much for thinking of me" goes a long way. My blunt truth just sounded rude.
And that's a huge thing for English learners. You can know all the words, but the nuance, the softeners, maybe, I'd love to, but thanks so much for asking, that's what makes you sound natural and polite, not robotic or harsh.
Exactly. It's not a grammar mistake, it's a wording mistake, a tone mistake. And those are sometimes harder to learn because they're not in the textbook.
What I love about these stories is their universality. They don't just happen to people learning English, they happen to everyone. Native speakers, CEOs, teachers, we all have a museum of awkward moments in our minds. The language might be the vehicle for the mistake, but the root is just human nerves.
So if you're listening and thinking, "I've done something worse," congratulations, you're part of the club. You're normal. These aren't failures, they're shared experiences.
And honestly, at work, mistakes with language often make for the best stories later. The perfect email is forgotten. The email where you accidentally praised someone for their hard work on the prostate instead of the project is remembered for decades.
A true story from a friend, by the way. The P key is dangerously close to the R key.
Oh, that's devastating. All right, my next one. This one I love because I was just an innocent bystander. Zero responsibility, 100% entertainment.
The best kind of story. You get the laugh without the shame.
So we had this new hire, Leo. Fresh out of school, incredibly keen, incredibly polite. He used sir and ma'am unironically. He was trying so hard to be the perfect professional.
I already feel for him. That energy is a magnet for disaster.
It truly is. One Tuesday morning, our department head, Sarah, walks in, and Sarah is not a morning person. This particular morning, she'd clearly had a battle with traffic, maybe a broken coffee machine at home. She stomps to her desk, drops her bag with a thud, and just stares blankly at her monitor. The whole team is subtly tiptoeing around her aura of gloom.
A recognizable office ecosystem.
So Leo, eager to be a positive force, decides to break the ice. He walks over to her desk with a bright, cheerful smile. "Good morning, Sarah. How are you today?"
A brave yet profoundly dangerous question.
Sarah doesn't even look up from her screen. She lets out a long, world-weary sigh and says, "I'm barely alive, Leo."
A standard, non-literal, pre-caffeinated expression. We've all been there.
We have, but Leo processes this literally. His smile vanishes, his face fills with genuine, profound concern. He leans in, his voice dropping to a somber, respectful whisper. "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that."
No, he didn't.
He did. And then, after a pause where you could see the gears turning, what does one do when a colleague is barely alive? He added with grave seriousness, "Should I call someone?"
Oh, this is beautiful. He was ready to dial 999.
The entire open plan office, which had been quietly listening, just erupted. Snorts, choked laughter, someone dropped a pen. Sarah finally looked up from her screen, her expression shifting from grim to utterly confused. She saw Leo's worried face, heard the laughter, and pieced it together. She started laughing too. "No, Leo, no, I'm fine. It's just an expression. It means I'm very tired."
The dawning horror on his face.
It was a masterpiece of slow-motion realization. He went bright red. "Oh, right, of course. An expression. Sorry." He practically ran back to his desk, but it was so sweet. He was genuinely ready to help.
That's such a perfect English learner moment. Idioms and figurative language are a minefield. I'm dead on my feet. This is killing me. I could eat a horse. Taken literally, they are horrifying.
And after that, Sarah was very careful with her language around him. She'd say, "I'm tired" instead of "I'm dead." So his mistake actually changed the manager's behavior. That's a quiet power.
See? Language mistakes have influence. All right, my turn again. This one is short, but the pain is concentrated. It's about public speaking.
The universal fear, where did it happen?
Just a small internal team presentation, maybe 10 people, 5 minutes tops. I was updating them on a project timeline. I'd practiced the content. I knew my slides. I was ready.
So the mistake wasn't in the data.
The mistake was in the very first sentence, the opening line, the thing you say to break the ice and seem friendly and in control.
The most important sentence.
I wanted to say thank you all for coming to this quick update, a standard safe opener.
What did you actually say?
What came out of my mouth, clear as day for the whole room, was thank you all for surviving.
Surviving? Surviving what? The morning? The company?
Your guess is as good as mine. My brain must have mixed thanks for coming with we've survived the week or something. It was a complete verbal car crash. There was a beat of dead silence.
And then?
And then, because the universe has a sense of humor, my boss, who was in the front row, let out a single loud snort of laughter. That broke the dam. Everyone started laughing, not at me, but with the absurdity of it. The nervous energy in the room just dissolved into giggles.
Did you try to correct yourself?
In that moment, I decided to lean into it. Trying to say, I mean, coming would have made it worse. So I shrugged, gave a little smile, and said, yeah, it's been that kind of week, right?
That's actually incredibly smooth. You turned a linguistic disaster into a relatable joke.
Pure, desperate instinct. The presentation itself was fine, but nobody remembered a single data point. For weeks afterward, people would greet me in the hallway with, hey, Alex, still surviving? Or just wanted to say, I survived the meeting, thanks.
That's become your signature. That's when you know a mistake has ascended to legend status. It's no longer an error, it's part of your lore.
And honestly, it helped. It made me seem more approachable, less formal.
That's the interesting paradox. These spectacular facepalm moments rarely hurt your career. Often they do the opposite. They make you memorable, relatable, human. People trust humans more than they trust perfect, flawless robots.
And for someone learning English, this is the most liberating thing to realize. You do not need perfect, accentless, grammatically immaculate English to be effective, respected, or liked at work. You need to be clear, you need to be kind, and you need to have the grace to laugh when your brain and mouth betray each other.
Absolutely. People will forgive a language mistake 1,000 times faster than they'll forgive arrogance, rudeness, or a bad attitude. A confused, I'm sorry, can you repeat that, is always better than a confident misunderstanding.
Okay, one more from me. This one is about the dangers of autopilot, especially with email.
Email, the source of 80% of modern workplace trauma. Let's hear it.
It was a Friday, late afternoon. My brain was already at the weekend, but my body was still at my desk. I needed to message one single coworker, David, who sat 3 desks away. A tiny, non-urgent thing. I think it was, hey, did you ever get the login for the analytics dashboard?
A 2-second spoken question?
Exactly, but I was in work mode, so my fingers automatically opened a new email and my tired Friday brain decided this needed professional capitalization.
Oh no, you didn't.
I started typing, Dear Team.
Team? It was for one person.
I know, but Dear David felt too personal and my brain short-circuited to the default formal address. I kept going. Dear Team, I hope this email finds you well.
Sam, please.
I am writing to kindly inquire if you have obtained the necessary credentials for the aforementioned analytics portal, as I am currently unable to proceed with the quarterly review without said access. Your prompt assistance would be much appreciated.
You turned, hey, got the password, into a Victorian letter to the king. You used aforementioned. Who uses aforementioned in an internal email?
A very tired Sam on a Friday. I hit send. About 30 seconds later, I get a reply. Not just from David. He had, of course, replied to all, the team. His email read, Sam, are we okay? This is David, at the desk with the dinosaur figurine. I have the login. Also, the printer is out of paper. Should I write a formal report on that, or...
That is the perfect, hilarious response. He matched your absurd formality with playful sarcasm.
The whole team, which was just our department of 8 people, started replying all with equally formal nonsense. I, for one, am very well, thank you for asking. The quarterly review is of paramount importance. It became a 5-minute comedy thread. I had turned a paper jam into a constitutional crisis.
And the lesson? Not every communication needs professional English. Often, the most professional thing is to be direct, simple, and human. Walk 3 desks over. Send a 2-word chat message. Log in. The higher the formality, the higher the chance of ridiculousness.
Precisely. By the way, Alex, have you noticed we've been talking so much that my coffee is now officially cold?
A true sacrifice for the podcast. This is the real energy, getting lost in conversation, the sign of a good topic.
All right, last one for this session. This is the classic first day introductions, the forced fun fact.
A ritual designed to torture introverts and linguists alike. I hate it.
Everyone hates it. You're new, you're nervous, you're trying to remember everyone's name, and suddenly it's your turn to be interesting. The pressure is immense. So, my first day at this media company, we're all standing in an awkward circle in the breakout area. The manager is going around. This is Chloe. She runs social media and she breeds exotic snails. This is Ben. He's in finance and he's a champion poker player. Everyone has these cool, quirky facts.
And your mind goes blank.
Completely, utterly blank. It's like my biography was erased. The manager smiles at me. And this is Sam, our new content writer. Sam, tell us a little something about yourself. All eyes on me. My brain offered only one undeniable truth. So I said, "Hi, I'm Sam. I'm the new content writer, and I like food."
Just a fundamental biological fact. I engage in consumption.
That was it. No elaboration. No, I love to cook Italian, or I'm a foodie, just I like food. The circle was silent for a second, then people laughed. It was so stupid, it was funny.
Did they hold it against you?
The opposite. It broke the tension. After the circle broke up, 3 different people came up to me. One said, "Same, Sam, same." Another said, "What's your favorite food? We have great tacos nearby." And that afternoon, the person who would become my work best friend slid a cookie onto my desk with a note, "For the food liker."
See? Authenticity, even in its dumbest form, works. Trying too hard to be interesting is worse than stating a simple human truth. Before we wrap this up, Sam, I just want to speak directly to everyone listening. If you've followed this whole conversation, the stories, the laughter, the cringing, if you understood us, even through the background noise and the natural speed, then you are doing incredibly well. This is real, unfiltered English. Understanding this is a huge achievement.
Absolutely, Alex. And if this made you laugh or made you feel less alone in your own language mistakes, then we've done what we came here to do. Don't let this be a one-time thing. Let this be the kind of English you listen to regularly.
Make sure you're subscribed to Linguasphere Online Academy on your podcast app or on YouTube. We drop new conversations like this one all the time. Different topics, different guests, but always the same goal: real English for real life.
Your support is what lets us keep making these. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button. It sounds small, but it tells the algorithm that this kind of natural, helpful content is valuable. Leave a comment too. Tell us where you're listening from or share your own I survived work story. We read them all.
And the best way to learn is together. If you have a friend who's also on this English journey, share this episode with them. Talk about it. Laugh about the stories. Learning is always better as a shared adventure.
Thank you for spending your valuable time with us today, for laughing with us, and for being part of this community.
This was Linguasphere Online Academy.
We'll see you in the next conversation, and until then,
Keep learning, keep speaking, keep growing. And remember, it's always better to say the wrong thing with good intentions than to say nothing at all. See you next time.